Hey guys, happy Sunday. I've been needing to get outside and harvest some of my oregano. I have 2 oregano plants that are just, they're like the Terminator of oregano plants. They are actually from last year, and once I, little gnats. Once I cleaned out the garden and everything last year, I had a couple oregano pots that were still doing pretty well, and we set them over by the garage, fully intending on just kind of getting rid of them and starting fresh this year. But to our surprise, this year when we started the garden and started planting all of our herbs, those oregano plants actually came back on their own. Like they looked completely dead throughout the winter. And they came back and they are stronger than ever. They are the strongest herbs that we had this year. And they are huge. I took them out of their pots and put them in the ground, and I could not believe how big the plants got. So I think from now on, for the most part, I'm gonna probably do my herbs in like a raised bed instead of doing pots, just because the plants seem to have done so much better. And you can absolutely do herbs in pots if you have a small space, or if you want to have like a peppermint plant in your kitchen that's easier for snipping and things like that. But I just found that the plants really thrived once I put them into a bigger space with deeper soil. So anyway, what I wanted to share with you guys today is how to harvest herbs and how I dry them. So keep in mind, as with anything else, everybody has different ways of doing things. I am so busy, you guys, just, you know, as we all are, right, with homeschooling and my business, and, you know, still keeping up with things here in the garden and everything. I am all about quick and easy. So what I like to do is harvest my herbs. I bring them inside, give them a little rinse, and pat them dry. And then I actually just put them right onto my dehydrator racks and I dehydrate them. So it's quick, it's easy. I can pop them in the dehydrator and go finish folding laundry or doing school with Parker. And it's kind of my middle name, multitask. So that's how I do things. But I just wanted to show you guys really quick. The greenhouse has been a little bit neglected, I will not lie. So no judgment, okay? Anybody that gardens knows that you, maybe not everybody, but you get to the point where you're just kind of like, okay, the season's about done and I'm ready to just kind of take a break from everything and wait until next season. And we kind of hit that point. However, the tomatoes, as you guys can see behind me, are still doing amazing, and we are still harvesting tomatoes. We just picked this one today. So I told you guys earlier in the gardening season, we really did a heavy pruning on our tomatoes, and we kept up with that all summer long, and they really turned into tomato trees, and they are still producing. So we are still maintaining them and watering them. We've got some strawberry plants that are still going strong, and we also have our peppermint out here, which I did not know. You put peppermint into the ground and it is just gonna spread like wildfire. It's crazy. I've always just kept peppermint in little pots and it stays pretty contained, but the second that you put it in the ground or you put it in an above ground box, I mean, it just really takes off and turns into this beautiful plant. So let me just show you guys these tomatoes. They're pretty cool. We've actually started hanging them from the trellises in the greenhouse because they're just still growing so big and strong. So you can just see that they are. And there's my peppermints. I put them into my boxes and they just took off. But we just pruned all the way up the stalk throughout the season and really kept control of them. Anybody that's done tomatoes, you know, they can kind of get away from you and take control, and it's kind of hard to harvest and keep everything the way that you want it when they get out of control. But these ones are doing really well. And we still are getting we're still getting flowering and still getting tomatoes, so it's pretty amazing. These are our cherry tomatoes over here. And these ones really take off if you don't watch them. So yeah, we have them on this side too. And like I said, they are still producing. As long as we keep them watered, they seem to like it here in the greenhouse. when you're harvesting your herbs, they say that it's best to harvest them first thing in the morning. And that is true, just so that you're getting the most potent part of the plant, you know, early in the morning, right after that morning dew settles. I would love to say that I always follow that rule, but I'm like I said, I am just a fly by the seat of my pants kind of girl when it comes to when I just get the urge or the feeling to do something. And whenever I need herbs, I just come out and harvest. So there's nothing wrong with harvesting your herbs at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So you're just gonna need some good scissors or some little gardening shears and just a little basket. All right, let me go out and show you guys my beautiful Terminator oreganos. All right, so as you guys can see, look at these big, huge oreganos. They're simply amazing. This is one of my favorite herbs, and I know it's Joe's. So he loves it when I harvest oregano and I dry it for cooking. We use it on everything, steaks, chicken, salad dressings, I mean, you name it, we use it. So big, huge, beautiful plants, and I'm just gonna prune these back. I'm gonna get quite a bit from these plants today, and we'll take them inside and get them rinsed off and ready to go in the dehydrator. So you'll notice when I'm clipping my herbs, I know that there's like this perfect way of doing it, and you can watch YouTube videos where they say, you know, where your branches split into a V, clip right at the bottom of that. Yeah, I used to be precise like that, not so much anymore. And you know what I found? It's okay not to be. The plants grow just fine. In fact, these oreganos, I come out here and I give them a haircut like nobody's business, and they come back big and beautiful. And I've never had any issues with the way that I cut them back and harvest them. So really, I just grab a handful and I just clip it and I go. So really, it's just however much you guys want. Maybe you just need to come out and grab some for the recipe that you have going on in the kitchen. Look at that. Gorgeous, beautiful oregano. Oh, and you guys, this smell is heavenly. And so this will kind of show you guys how far back I trimmed them. So this is the one that I have not trimmed yet. And you can see this one is much smaller. And I've just kind of given it a little haircut. And I ended up with a huge basket. Look at that. Just beautiful. So now we're gonna take these inside and give them a good rinse. All right, you guys, so we are back in the house and we have our big basket of herbs over here. And I'm gonna try and do this holding the camera at the same time. I've already packed up my tripod and everything, so I'm a one-handed show around here. There's nobody here in the house to help me record. So I'm just gonna get these herbs rinsed really well, and then all I do is put them over here on like a cookie sheet with some paper towels. Oh, don't mind the dirty dishes back there. What? I'm human, okay? I don't always have a clean sink, people. Okay, so we're just gonna rinse them really good, put them on this cookie sheet, and then I'm gonna dab them with a dry paper towel to try to get the most of the excess water off, and then we'll get them all lined on our dehydrator trays. All right, so once you have your leaves all rinsed off, or your stems all rinsed off, just come through with a nice dry paper towel and push down as much excess water as you can. And that way they will, you know, you want them to dehydrate well. And if you put them in there with a bunch of extra water on them, it's gonna take them that much longer to dehydrate. You wanna leave them on the stem while you dehydrate them, because that way your dehydrated leaves are gonna have the most flavor when they're all done. So when they're done dehydrating, you strip the leaves from the stem. So I've got my dehydrator trays out, and I'm just showing you guys what I'm gonna do with this one tray, but I have 15 more trays that I'm going to finish up. I will finish rinsing all of those and get them dried off, and I will stack them all today in the dehydrator and get them going. So when you're putting these out on your dehydrator tray, you just want to make sure that you try not to overlap them as much as possible. And you just kind of play with it. Try to use up as much space as you can on the tray, but just don't overlap them. You know, don't lay them on top of each other because, I mean, they would eventually dehydrate, but it's just going to take them. I got my tray of herbs here, my oregano that we did today. And I still have several other trays to go do, but I'm gonna show you guys what I do once I get them loaded. Once you get all of your trays in your dehydrator, you're going to dehydrate them for 8 to 12 hours. And everybody's dehydrator is different. People have different opinions on temperature and things like that. So you really have to kind of play with it until you find what works best for you. But for softer leaves like dill and things like that, I usually dehydrate mine at about 90 degrees. And for more hardy herbs like rosemary and like oregano that we're doing today, I do them at 110 degrees, and I do them for 8 to 12 hours. And usually they're done. Every once in a while, I'll go back in and check them, and they're still not completely dehydrated, and you just gotta pop them in for another hour or two and keep an eye on them. So you'll learn your dehydrator and you'll learn your timing, so just play with it until you get it right. Hey everybody, welcome back. This is the next day. All of my oregano stems are dehydrated. When you take your stems out of the dehydrator, you just wanna check and make sure that they're all the way dried. And if they crumble off of the stem nice and easy and they're crunchy, then you know that they're done. If they still feel wet or like they're not crunchy, then they probably need to go a little bit longer. So this is what I was talking about. You're gonna dry them on the stem, and then when they're all done, you're just gonna strip the leaves right from the stem. And it's actually pretty fast once you get going. I usually have the kids help me out with this, but they just slide right off the stems. So I'm gonna work on this for a few minutes and get all these leaves off of here, and then I'll show you guys what I do next. So these are all of my oregano leaves that I've stripped from the stems. And once they're all done, there's lots of different ways you can prepare these. You can put them right in a mason jar for storage on the stem. You don't even have to strip them if you don't want to. Or you can strip them like this, and you can put them in a jar and just crush them up when you're ready to use them. I like to have easy access to the herb when I'm cooking or seasoning chicken, so I like to grind these up right now and put them in a jar. That way they're ready and I could just kind of sprinkle my seasonings on my food. They have herb crushers. I'm sure you guys have probably seen like the little ceramic bowls with the little crushers to crush your herbs. I just have a little coffee grinder, so this is for coffee beans. And I do put down aluminum foil, or you can use like parchment paper, because you are gonna have little droppings all over the place and you don't wanna lose any of them. So when I'm done, I pick up the foil and I just kind of dump it into my grinder. So go ahead and get your leaves. Just pack them in there. Just like that. And you can grind them up as small as you want. Some people, especially like rosemary and oregano, you might like bigger chunks on your food, which is totally fine. I don't really have a certain size. This is just pretty much what I do. And then I just add it to my mason jar. And I keep it in my pantry. All right, you guys, so I just finished stripping all my stems from that pile that I had there and crushed them up. this is all I do for drying my herbs, and I do this for just about everything. My rosemary, thyme, oregano, my dill. I do all of my own dill for my dill pickles, and it's just great. You guys, if you have never tried growing herbs, I highly, highly recommend it. Especially if you're somebody that, you know, you might think that you're not a very good gardener and you don't have a green thumb, because herbs have been one of the easiest things for me to grow and maintain in my garden. They just don't require much. They really don't. You know, these oregano plants, I haven't even been watering them, to be honest. Like I told you, I've gotten a little lazy now that it's into fall, and I haven't been out there as much as I was during the summer. So they've gone 2.5, 3 weeks without water sometimes. You know, we're in a little bit of a drought right now. We haven't gotten any rain here, and they're just thriving. They're doing great. So, and of course, not all herbs are that way. You know, your cilantros and things like that are gonna need more water, but there is some really hardy herbs that don't require much. And for these, you know, you just wanna make sure when they start to flower that you trim those flowers off, or they will go to seed, and then, you know, that's gonna kind of be the end of that plant for the season. So I just keep an eye on them, my basil plants, my oreganos, all of them, and when they start to flower, I just snip those flowers right off, and they will continue producing for you for many, many months. And of course, if you guys don't have a dehydrator, you can always rinse your leaves the same way that we did, turn them upside down and gather them at the stems, and then tie a rubber band around them or twine or something like that, and hang them in a cool, dark place, and they will dry that way. It does take longer. I tried that last season, and it took me 3 to 4 weeks to dry the thicker stemmed herbs like oregano and rosemary and stuff. So it's cute and it looks really pretty to have those little bushels of herbs all over, but I don't really need pretty. I need herbs I can put on my food so I can eat it. So that's why I really like the dehydrator, because it's just super quick. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. I love all the new subscribers that I'm seeing. That's really exciting. If you found this video to be helpful and you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and we will keep doing videos like this. And if you haven't subscribed and you'd like to become part of our little family, please subscribe and hit that bell, and it will notify you every time that I upload a video. So in the meantime, I hope you guys have an amazing fall season. It's officially pumpkin season, woohoo! It's October 1st today, so we are going into the holidays, and I hope that you guys are all blessed, and I appreciate you very much. So have a great day, and I will talk to you guys next time.